You know him. You love him. Christopher Columbus. Wait, no, that's not right, is it? Okay.
No.
So, hey, how about we just hold on to our compasses and prepare to set sail to the murky waters of Christopher Columbus? Better?
I think so.
You
Yeah.
like that? Okay.
Yeah, it's better.
The man who thought he found a shortcut to India, but he ended up stumbling upon a continent already inhabited by people who definitely knew where they were. Spoiler alert, Christopher Columbus might not be the hero your history books wanted you to believe.
What?
Right. Right. Get ready for a voyage filled with questionable navigation skills, cultural misunderstandings, and the persistent urge to rename places that were perfectly fine with their original names. Fasten your seatbelts, or in Columbus's case, secure the flimsy 15th century life vest. It's time to explore the new world through the eyes of a guy who really should have asked for directions.
God, that's where you go? Immediately? You are dark, man.
You know, I thought maybe that was a good lead in for how dark Christopher Columbus is.
Yeah.
I need to cut that down. It's a little long.
Nah, it's fine.
Yeah, I could throw in some more sound clips over.
I mean, that was 30 seconds. It's fine.
31.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah. You stand corrected, my good friend.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I am your host, JT. With me, as always, is Ron. And
hello.
Eventually, we'll have Eric.
Yeah.
So he's doing the whole new job thing.
Mm.
But for now, he's our behind-the-scenes tech guru.
There you go.
So we'll put his official title on his nameplate.
Guru.
Tech guru, behind-the-scenes tech guru. So trying to use my DJ voice on that one. I don't have one.
I don't.
Yeah, you probably have a better one than I do.
If I do, I haven't found it yet.
Oh, it'll come.
Oh, yeah. Well,
It'll be there.
hello and welcome. That's more game show. At least in my head, that was more game show.
That's very monotone in mine.
Perfect.
Oh, good Lord. If you are listening live, you'd be the only one.
I'm sorry.
That's all right, because we're early in this adventure. And it is early.
It
The
is.
adventure. It's 8:43 in the a.m. Central Time on the 19th of November.
Yeah.
2023. Also, if you are listening, make sure you go to all the socials. You can find us on Twitter, X.
Yeah.
Twitter.
X.
TwitX.
TwitX.
X Twitter. That's
Well,
what we'll call
not
it.
for now.
Yeah, well, we'll see. At Dirty River ICT. You can also find us on Instagram that we don't use yet. Just search up at Dirty River Podcast.
Okay.
You can look up our Facebook group.
Yeah.
Group? I think it's a group.
Think so.
It's not a page.
It's a group.
It's a group. Just search up Dirty River Podcast and you'll find us. And then also you can always email us dirtyriverchronicles@gmail.com.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So send us your emails if you have any stories about, the subjects we talk about, or by all means, I am going to just chop up Ginsu style some of these pronunciations and some of these corrections, any of that good stuff. Feel free to let us know how dumb we really are. So
I already know. That's the thing. I already know how dumb I am.
but it's really good to just have that
Go for it.
reinforced
Yep.
by people you don't know.
I'm not perfect.
Yeah, well, no.
Weird.
I know. Neither am I. So yeah, that should take care of all the particulars.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for pre-show.
Okay, cool.
The particulars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so rolling into this week's What You Drinking, it's early, so it's another Zions for me. But this week, it's blueberry pomegranate.
And I went with McDonald's finest, Coca-Cola.
Oh, no. Their Coke is legendary because of the way they carbonate it.
And I heard they actually run like copper lines just for the Coke.
Yes.
I could be totally wrong, but I heard.
Strictly for the Coke. They have their own set dedicated lines.
Yes. Between Coke and McDonald's, they've committed to making the best Coke.
It's something.
And I don't know why anybody cares, because everything else there may or may not be the best.
May not.
I've had other eggs. Some of them are better.
Sure.
I don't want to badmouth anybody this early into our podcast, but
well, let's be real. McDonald's or Coke is ever a sponsor of ours. We can pay to
get rid of whatever.
To make it right.
Yes.
To
I can be sorry if I need to be.
Just remember episode 2.
Yes.
We trashed on McDonald's and Coke.
Or at least McDonald's. Coke is fine.
Coke is fine. It was on McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can't hear that, by the way. We can.
But now you talk about it.
Yeah,
so
which
that,
makes it more fun.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What's going on in the background?
Whose computer was that?
Well, hey, whoa, I didn't say it was computer. Way to let the cat out of the bag. Man.
Sorry.
It's all right. Stand up for yourself. Jeez.
I'll go home.
There it is.
Yep.
So, yes, blueberry pomegranate. That's shout out to the wifey. You're.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it.
You're fine. You're fine. So, as we stated earlier, we are the live at the 19th of November. We are not the 19th of November.
No.
It is the 19th of November when we're recording this in whatever dungeon we're in. Maybe eventually we do get a full studio and not just a place.
Yeah.
Goals. So,
or at least a green screen.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of setup still.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
One of these days.
We got time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today in history, November 19th, we'll start with 1863. U.S. President Abraham Lincoln delivers the Gettysburg Address at the dedication ceremony for the military cemetery. About that ceremony again.
That'd be weird.
At Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Little Civil War.
One of them.
I'm
X.
X-Force. Something like that. Fast forward 1916, Samuel Goldwyn and Edgar Selwyn established Goldwyn Pictures. If you don't know who Goldwyn Pictures is,
Metro Goldwyn.
Metro Goldwyn Pictures is who they eventually
MGM.
became. Yes, MGM. Gone with the Wind, the Rocky series, James Bond films, etc., etc., etc.
The big lion roaring in there. Yeah.
Have you heard the story of the lion?
Oh, how people thought that it was like some crazy animal cruelty to get the lion to roar, and really it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, they were just holding a stake in front of him.
Nice.
Of course, he did end up attacking one of the cameramen and killing him, but hey, that's a whole other podcast.
He's a lion.
Right. And you're holding a stake.
Yeah, meat in front of a lion.
Right.
Sometimes you kind of go, you know?
Yeah, that's probably not the best of ideas. And you do eventually become part of the meat because you're holding the meat and you're not giving it to them.
And wild animals are still wild. There's no such thing as
born in captivity or not. They're
still wild.
There's
You don't domesticate a lion. It's not a thing.
No, although my cat seems to think he can be at times.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, you're still just a house cat.
Yeah.
So be it.
I've heard arguments that even house cats aren't domesticated.
No,
like there's something deep down inside them. They still just deny domestication.
Well, dogs are there to. They want to be loved. They want to please you. They want
right. Cats
you to love
don't
them.
care.
Cats just, where's my human? Where's my food?
Food.
Worship me.
Yeah.
I'm going to lick my crotch in front of you no matter what.
Fair.
That's what cats do. So, yeah.
Whatever. Back to today.
I'm with you. Fast forward 1942 with some World War II news. Battle of Stalingrad. Soviet forces, how about that Soviet, under General Georgy Zhukov, launched the Operation Uranus counterattacks at Stalingrad, turning the tide of the battle in the USSR's favor. I did say Uranus.
I can't not. Yeah.
Should I said Uranus?
Well, no, it wouldn't have been as funny.
Exactly. But Georgy Zhukov and the Operation Uranus.
Yes.
Counterattacks. Sorry, it's just all funny.
Somebody knew it when they named it.
Yeah. But it was at Stalingrad. So
yeah.
I don't remember what Stalingrad is now. I probably should.
It's a history podcast.
I know. It's episode 2 though. I haven't learned that.
Fine.
It went over Russian history.
It's also 8:50 in the morning.
It is, and I had a long night at a buddy's wedding. So
fair.
There's that. So let's see. 1943, the Holocaust. Nazis liquidate Janowska. 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 I don't know
how I'd say it.
It's Polish, so it could be Smith for all we know. Concentration camp in Limburg. Actually, it's Ukraine. Western Ukraine. Still could be Smith. I don't know.
Yeah.
Murdering at least 6,000 Jews after a failed uprising and mass escape attempt. So
Hmm.
the Holocaust is one we talked about possibly doing next week, but that's one that we're going to need a couple of 3-hour episodes to dive into and
Yeah.
really get all that information out there.
It'd be a disjustice to try to do
Exactly
45 minutes to an hour on something like the Holocaust.
right, and even the, and we'll talk about it the next episode. The little bit that day in history really pinpointed on, that's still a good 1.5 to 2 hour podcast.
Sure.
So again, like you just said, we want to give it all the honor and respect that it deserves.
That's probably the better.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the honoring the Jews and what
Of
they
course.
went through and their
Right.
that's not honoring the Holocaust. Let's whoa.
Yay.
Don't point me into an anti-Semitic corner, all right?
Episode 2.
Yeah. Episode 2. Excuse me. Fast forward 1969. Associated football player Pele scores his 1,000th goal. International goal, I believe, at that.
Yeah.
No, it can't be international. That's a lot of international friendlies. Just goal. Yeah, I mean, professional goal, whatever. That's 1,000 goals is 1,000 goals.
That's still 1,000.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So, fast forward 1998. Lastly, on events in history, the Clinton Lewinsky scandal. House of Representatives Judiciary Committee begins impeachment hearings against U.S. President Bill Clinton.
You know, it's crazy. That feels like something that I learned about in school that happened so long ago, like in my memory.
Right.
I'm just that old.
Yeah.
Like, I know I lived through it, but it feels like something I was taught.
I was 20. So,
Yeah. We say 98.
yeah.
So I was, 15.
Yeah. That would have been something you guys learned about in school then.
Yeah, but I feel like I was taught about it
Sure.
as it was happening.
Sure.
But it wasn't something back when.
It wasn't,
You know,
learning about like Watergate.
Right, exactly. To me, it feels like it's in that same bucket as Watergate or as
Right.
JFK or things that I've learned about, not things
Sure.
that I lived through. And it just makes you feel older.
Right. Imagine how I feel.
Those things.
There you
can't-
go.
ah,
There you go. Notable births on this date, 1933. American journalist and talk show host Larry King
Hey,
passed away in 2021. Let's see. 1938, American businessman and philanthropist founded the Turner Broadcast System. Ted Turner, born in 38, so that makes him 85. Getting up
Oh,
there.
happy birthday.
Look at the quick math on my brain, but I can't think of particulars.
Yes.
1942, American fashion designer founded the Calvin Klein Incorporated Company.
Heard of him.
Mr. Calvin Klein
Yeah.
himself.
Hey,
Fast forward to 1960, we were given American wrestler and manager. Wrestler is a loose term. Miss Elizabeth.
okay.
I think she wrestled one event, but passing away in 2003 from a drug overdose
Ouch.
in the apartment of Lex Luger. They were a thing. So, speaking of wrestling history, I recently ran across, and I sent it to my buddy Lonnie, the application that Randy Poffo submitted to the Kentucky State Board of Athletics so that he could become a professional wrestler in Kentucky.
Huh.
So, if you don't know who Randy Poffo is, it's pretty topical with Miss Elizabeth because that is Randy Savage. And
Nice.
it also did say list all of the ring names or pseudo names you've gone by. And it just said Randy Savage.
Of all the things
Of
that
all
just
the things.
minutely list on there, you go, oh, and Randy Savage.
Right. This
Yeah.
is like 1972
Still.
or 73. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he spent some time in the St. Louis Cardinals organization
Did he?
as he was drafted and never made it past AA. So he would have played Springfield.
Cool.
All the things I remember, but I can't remember how to pronounce or what Stalingrad is now. Or what. My brain is weird at 8:55 in the morning. So
I hear you.
there it is. Let's see. Fast forward 1 year, 1961. American actress and producer Meg Ryan.
Heard of her. Yeah.
Born on this date. She's only a year older than Miss Elizabeth, and then only a year older or younger than her. I said older. It's younger. I'll get there. American actress, director, producer Jodie Foster. Yeah. And lastly, this is a personal one. 1996. the world was given American football player Fred Warner from my San Francisco 49ers.
Hey,
Yes, playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. Let's see. Notable deaths on this date, November 19th. The year 1703, French prisoner. Can you guess?
1703.
1703. Wrong.
Yep.
Man in the Iron Mask.
Ah,
Nobody knows who he is.
nope.
Was.
Or for that matter, that he died today.
Right.
Because I didn't know.
Right.
Well, I'm not everybody, but
Well,
I'm somebody.
Anyway.
Whoa.
Let's see. Fast forward to 2017. And this is one I really kind of wanted to go over for this week, but we chose the Atrocities of Christopher Columbus instead. American cult leader, mass murderer, and songwriter Charles Manson.
That is a collection of things.
He had a hand in some of the songs that the Beach Boys wrote.
Don't ruin the Beach Boys for me.
I didn't say which ones.
No, don't.
I didn't say.
I'm
which
not
ones.
even.
That's a fun story too. How he got hooked up with Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
And what him and his people did to Brian Wilson's house, where he was just like, "Peace out, I'm leaving, y'all."
Huh.
Yeah, it's a fun story. Maybe we'll go over that someday.
No, we still can't ruin the Beach Boys.
No.
No.
Well, no, that doesn't ruin the Beach Boys.
Good.
That absolutely puts a black veil on Charles Manson.
Deal.
Yeah.
Growing up in California, I can't badmouth the Beach Boys. Just
Fair, I
can't.
get
Just
it.
can't do it.
And I mean, I can because I'm from Kansas, but I won't because I like the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
So, lastly, same year, 2017, American singer-songwriter Mel Tillis. If you know your country music history,
Yeah.
couldn't tell
Familiar.
couldn't
Yeah.
tell you sing a
Right.
song.
I couldn't tell you.
I
but
didn't say we know the history. I'm just saying if you
If
know,
you know,
yes.
if you know, you know.
If you know. So this week we were doing a deep dive. Medium dive. We'll go waist deep.
Yeah.
Since
well,
we got about 45 minutes to go.
Wade pool or so. Yeah.
I mean, it is the dirty river. You don't want to go too deep. into it.
Oh.
Of
If you've seen Wichita's rivers.
yes, well, which is where we get our moniker.
Oh, I get it.
Episode 2.
Hey.
We are diving into the man, the myth, the legend. That is Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
So, we'll do a little bit into his how he got to acquire all of his ships and get his voyages, and then we'll talk more about what he did to the people that were already there that he thought weren't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Things like that.
We probably shouldn't touch too much on the first 14 years of his life because nobody has a clue. He did nothing.
He
Nothing.
didn't do much. You're right.
He was just a dude,
He was a fella.
just a guy.
He,
But that's okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. I had it pulled up, but
He wasn't stupid. He was a very smart guy. But
he
he
wasn't
wasn't.
extremely intelligent. Yeah,
But he wasn't an educated man.
no. See, his father was a wool weaver, and his owned a cheese stand.
Yeah, that's pretty
his mother
commendable work.
Yeah, I mean his mother, Susanna. I can't pronounce her last name though. He had 3 brothers: Bartholomew, Giovanni, and Giacomo.
Yeah,
There you go. Did I pronounce that right?
I would.
All right. And he had a sister, Bianchinetta.
Perfect.
We'll go with that.
Yep. If it's not, it's okay.
It's episode 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So Christopher Columbus, I saw a quote from Edmund Morgan for a Smithsonian magazine clip. And it said, Columbus was not a scholarly man. Yet he studied books, made hundreds of marginal notations in them, and came out with ideas about the world that were characteristically simple and strong and sometimes wrong.
I would say often.
So the man was smart enough to know that he was reading things.
There goes our light.
Yep.
It's all right.
But he'd get an idea in his head and he'd follow it.
Sure.
And that was his whole basis on everything, was he was going to follow what he knew in his mind was right, whether it was or not.
Which, I mean, to a degree, that's admirable.
Sure.
To a degree.
Sure.
I mean, way to stick to your convictions.
And for those first 14 or 15 years of life where what he thinks and what he knows can be the law for him,
Sure.
great.
Sure.
That's fantastic for a teenager to go, no, I know I'm right. I'm going to stick to my convictions. But a man that's exploring potential new ways to find the East India and Asian continents, that's not something that is really going to help you out much.
Sure.
So,
I mean, he was noted as a notable map maker.
right.
I think that's probably what he used the knowledge of that to really convince people. Because it's not like he went to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella and said, "Hey, I want to do this," and they're like, "All right, go ahead."
No, they even tried not to do that.
Yeah, and it wasn't the first stop on his list of people to get money from.
No, the first one was King John II of Portugal,
right?
And his advisor said he can't do this,
and probably a more stern tone,
right? Well, they thought that his distance calculations were about a quarter of what it was supposedly, because everybody it was accepted in the late 1400s that the Earth was round. Everybody knew it. Nobody thought we were going to sail off
nobody thought it was flat.
No, I mean Magellan had proven it, and people had shown so many times that. Was Magellan?
No,
somebody.
Magellan wasn't until 1570 something.
Well, I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but
that's all right.
Somebody had already Galileo.
Well, I mean, the Egyptians did as well, because they put an obelisk in Alexandria. Then they put one in, I can't remember the name of the town, but they noticed that while if the shadows of the two obelisks at the same time were the same distance or the same same size shadow,
right?
But as the day went on, they didn't stay the same.
Mm.
So that right there proved that the Earth is on a curved plane.
Sure.
So
I like it. Anyway,
but you're talking Egyptians,
knew.
So 5,000 years before.
Sure.
So
they knew the Earth is round. Come at us, flat earthers.
Right.
I would love to hear it. Come at us.
Right. And let's be real. Let's go. Let's circle back a little bit. If the Earth was flat, all the cats would have pushed everything off the edge by now. I mean,
probably. Yeah. Because again, we live in their world.
We're just peasants.
Yeah. So anyway.
But yeah, so they thought that the that they knew that the distance to get around Africa to go from Portugal, Spain to the East Indies was about 7,000 nautical miles.
Right.
But they thought that going the other way that they could cut it in half.
Just be faster.
Right. So they obviously knew the world was round. So he wasn't out to prove that the world was around like what we were taught.
No. And he would have been an amazing explorer had he done it the first time and there not been massive continents in his way.
Sure.
That up until his third voyage, he never even touched.
Right.
But we'll get there.
However.
Yes. So he got shot down by Portugal and they said, no. He did finally, he sent his brother to England, and it was Henry the Seventh, if I can read Roman numerals correctly. Henry the Seventh of England also said no after they were all captured by pirates.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. That was that off Portugal? Or that happened? Because I know that he swam ashore after his ship sunk after a battle with pirates off Portugal.
And then England still said, no, we're still not going to fund you. That's cool.
We're not giving you our money.
And then he went to Ferdinand and Isabella of Spain, or Castile at the time.
Castile. Yeah, how do you pronounce that?
Yeah, Castile. Castile. Anyway, he went to them and said, hey, I want some ships and I want some money and I want an opportunity to find a faster way to India and Asia. And they said, no, but we're going to give you money and we're going to pay you to just stop. And they did, what was it here? They did, I just had it up too, and that's the most annoying part. Anyway, they paid him to just to give up and said, we're just going to stop you right there.
Right.
And he finally did give up for a little while. And then one of Isabella's advisor said, hey, if you don't let him do this, somebody else will.
Right. He's headstrong enough.
Right.
He's going to make this happen one way or the other.
Right.
Yeah.
And they finally, in April of 1492, they promised Columbus that if he succeeded, he would be given the rank of Admiral of the Ocean Sea.
It's just like, we'll make you admiral. Just go.
Just do it then. Fine. Viceroy and governor of all the new lands he may claim for Spain. He had the right to nominate 3 persons in which for whom the sovereigns would choose one day for any office for the new lands, and he'd be entitled to 10% of the revenues from the new lands in perpetuity. So he had a lot at stake.
Right. And that'll come back.
Yes.
All that he was promised will come back in the story.
Because he's a liar.
Because segue.
Yes. So
and they also promised anybody who discovers new land, they'll give them 10,000 silver coins or whatever.
Yeah.
The first person to spot new land, if they were to discover new land, or if they make it to the Indies, as they call them then, not just the East Indies.
Right.
But if they make it to the Indies, then whoever plots the course, the chart, whatever, will get 10,000. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Put a pin in that one.
Yeah.
So
the first voyage, 3rd of August, 1492.
Columbus and about 90 men.
Yeah. 3 ships.
That's it. 90 men.
We've heard of them.
Yeah, the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria.
And really, if you look at it, the Santa Maria was the only one that I'd call a ship. The other 2 were boats in my mind.
Right. No, Santa Maria was a decent sized sailing vessel.
Right.
The Nina and the Pinta lived up to their name.
Yeah, they were teeny tiny. I mean, they were
children.
Yeah.
Compared to the big boat.
Yeah. But as we all know, he made that voyage. He
brain lock. So he departs from Palos, Spain.
Yeah.
Sets off from there. Then they go down to the Canary Islands to refuel.
Basically.
Yeah, to get more food, more lime so they don't get scurvy.
More wind?
No.
No.
To get more salt for their meat.
Yeah.
More rum. Hey, why is all the rum gone? So.
But they left in August. They made it in October. And the 11th of October, Columbus changed his fleet's course to due west and sailed through the night, believing that the land would soon be found. And at 2:00 in the following morning, a lookout on the Pinta, Rodrigo de Triana, spotted land. The captain of the Pinta, Martin Alonso Pinzon, sure,
question mark,
verified that he had seen the land and alerted Columbus. So they both saw it. They were like, "Yes, I see it." He said, "Yes, I see that you see it. Let's go tell the boss." And then Columbus later maintained, and he said from there on, he was the first one.
Right. He said, "Oh, well, I saw that 4 hours ago.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I just was waiting to see if you guys would say." I was a test.
Right.
And that way he could get that lifetime of perpetuity, 10% of whatever is to come.
Right. Don't get me wrong. He had a ton to lose by not being the first to sight it, the first there, all that good stuff.
Right. And really,
come on, dude.
But do you really let the lookout take all the credit? Or do you let the captain, the guy?
It's supposed to be the captain who gets the credit for it, because he's the one that's commanding the voyage and giving all the commands. And then they should have given the 10,000, silver coins for life to the lookout.
Right.
However, Columbus was a shady son of a bitch.
Yes.
So
they find land. They dock without a dock. I guess they come ashore.
We'll go with come ashore.
Yeah. And instantly, Columbus decided that he was going to change his mental standpoint from exploration and discovery to enslavement and conquest and getting rich. He came on shore, met with the locals that obviously saw them coming. They had gold earrings, they had gold jewelry, they had stuff. Maybe it wasn't lavish, but they had stuff. And he's like, you're going to take me to your gold. You're going to take me to this. And in his very first letter back, he wrote back to Ferdinand and Isabella just how easily with 50 men he could rule them.
Well, let me
take
read
over.
a little excerpt
Please.
from that.
Yeah.
He said, and this is all somewhat paraphrased.
That's all I do is paraphrase.
Well, but I mean, the way that it was written as well, it was. I mean, keep in mind the way that they wrote in the, early 16th century, very elongated, tons of words.
Of course.
Yeah. So this is a bit, I don't want to say dumbed down, but it's dumbed down. It says they brought us parrots and balls of cotton and spears and many other things. They willingly traded everything they owned. They were well built with good bodies and handsome features. They do not bear arms, and they do not know them, for I showed them a sword. They took it by the edge and cut themselves out of ignorance. They have no iron. Their spears are made of carved cane. They would make fine servants. With 50 men, I could subjugate them all and make them do whatever we want. I mean,
yeah.
From day one, he's like, mine.
Yeah. And he just ran with it.
Yes.
And the hero that he could have been,
sure,
the person, the let's not go as far as savior because they were living fine before him, but
right.
He could have brought knowledge and technology and all kinds of great things to an island nation.
He could have opened up.
And his
routes,
very first thought was
slaves.
We could take them.
Conquest. But I mean, keep in mind what's going to happen. Sorry, I've got an eyelash in my eye or something. Keep in mind that for the next 200 years, that's all the Spanish did was go in and go in and slay people and take
Right.
everything that they had.
Right. But his intentions, at least at first, was to explore.
Yeah, that's at least what they said. That's at least
again,
what we were taught.
Yeah. What you're taught and
yeah,
what you know are two different things.
Bingo.
Yeah. So he spends some time floating around the Caribbean. He explores some of Cuba and Hispaniola, and he loves Hispaniola. He goes there many, many, many times. That's kind of his target.
The DR in Dominican Republic now.
Yep.
Haiti in the Dominican Republic.
Yep.
Santa Maria sinks.
Yeah, and
biggin.
So his biggest ship sinks, and he decides, I'm going to show off my firepower and shoot our
Right.
cannons at the boat
As it's sinking.
So he's not only overly powering these people, now he's going to show them just how much they can do. And
Sure.
it's ridiculous.
And these people have never heard booms like that. They've never seen gunpowder. They've never seen a projectile thrown from anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And now look how strong this guy is. He's going to take out his own ships. Yeah, it was sinking and abandoned, and that's not the point. But
right.
Yeah. And he just, for the hero that you wanted him to be, that we all grew up thinking he was.
Right, that was just crammed down our throats back when we were kids.
Yeah. He just starts off wrong. The atrocities aren't really in the first voyage so much.
Well,
but he just gets worse and worse.
So you say that I found a well, I don't even know how to tell. Let me just read it to you. It says, after several months in the Caribbean on January 13th, 1493, 2 natives were murdered during trading because they were trading. I mean, just the simplest of things for gold.
Sure.
Gold was everywhere because it wasn't.
Right. It was just shiny rock.
It was among the people. Then they made their own jewelry out of it.
Yeah.
They coated, ceremonial spears and headdresses and things like that.
Makes sense. It's soft enough. Why not?
Exactly. It's malleable. Is that the word?
Yeah. That's it.
But it said 2 natives were murdered during trading. Columbus, who had otherwise described the natives as gentle people, wrote, "They are evil, and I believe from the island of Carib," which is where we get the Caribbean, and they eat men. He also described them as, quote, savage cannibals with dog-like noses that drink the blood of their victims. The cannibal story, believe it or not, is still taught as fact in some of today's schools.
Huh.
Yeah, depending on, I believe one of the things I read said in some Portuguese towns, it's still taught as fact that they were cannibals, that they had dog-like noses.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's the atrocities that we're going to talk about, like you said, didn't start in this first voyage. However, the seeds were planted.
Right.
I mean, the way that they would just brutalize these people. If somebody was caught stealing, they would cut off their hands, tie ropes around the hands, and then hang them from the people's necks while they bled to death.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's
savage, and it's crazy that he's the first one to go, look at the savages, and then turn into one himself, really, but to be praised for it back home.
Yeah, pot, kettle, etc.,
Yep.
etc.
Yep.
Right. So they returned back home.
Yep.
If I can find it, there it is. On the journey back, the Nina and the Pinta are separated in a storm.
Yep.
And trying to see where I was in my notes there.
See?
Yeah.
It happens.
March 15th. Well, so they departed on the 16th of January, so 3 days after he wrote that.
Yeah.
And then a month later on Valentine's Day is when the storm happens, when they split, at least by the ship's logs. That's when the date was for the storm. They arrive in Portugal on the 4th of March, so it's another almost month of sailing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they return back to Spain on the 15th of March. So
Yeah. A couple months.
right. They left behind approximately 40 men.
Yep.
Left them behind. There it is. And they helped them. I mean, they absolutely turned the women into sex slaves. Were just beyond brutal to the men, the chieftains, the children.
Right.
When they returned on the second voyage, we'll get into some details on the second voyage, but all 39 of the men were dead. So let's just assume there's a revolt.
Right.
If you beat down the people long enough, they will revolt.
Yeah.
That's just fact.
Right.
So,
And with enough emotion behind it, you can get a lot of people.
correct.
And 39 people with swords still don't stand a chance against.
Correct.
Could I have taken down all 300 Spartans with one machine gun? Well,
Possibly.
maybe at first, maybe initially,
Yeah.
but 300's a lot.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So returns back on the 15th of March. He departs again in September of 1493. So 6 months later.
Yeah.
And he leaves this time with with a fleet of 17 ships. It's a literal fleet.
That's yeah, lots.
So, they depart the Canary Islands again. They make a pit stop, get more food, get salt, get rum, all the things. And they sail west-southwest. And then that's on the 13th of October. On the 3rd of November, the island of Dominica is sighted at dawn. So a little quicker trip this time because they have a better idea of where they're going.
Yeah.
They're not just aimlessly floating in the ocean. And then on the 22nd of November, which would be here in a couple of days, they arrive at Hispaniola, which was, like
Again.
you said, one of his favorites. I mean, they got great resorts. I get it.
Yeah, why not?
Right. So they return to Navidad and they find that the fort is destroyed. As we talked about, all 39 men are dead. And at that point, that's on the 28th of November. On the 8th of December, they found the new colony of La Isabela after Queen Isabella. There you go.
Fair.
Yeah. And then on the 24th of April, 1494, so after almost 5 months, they sail from Isabella in search of the mainland because they think that they're in the East Indies. They don't even know that they're on a new,
Right.
uncharted. I don't want to say undiscovered because obviously it's discovered.
Right.
New to them. It's a used island.
New to you.
Right. It's a used island. On the 24th of April, excuse me. So they sail around for about a week. So on the 30th of April, they arrive at what is now Cuba. And
Heard
then-
of that? Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, they set out again, 5th of May. So again, about another week. they arrived as what is now Jamaica. Again, all these islands are already habited by
previously discovered people.
Yeah, indigenous people that have been there for tens of thousands of years almost.
Yeah.
So about another week and a half, 2 weeks later, they returned back to Cuba. And they're there for about a month. Again, building forts, building colonies, things of this sort. All in the meantime, let's use quotation figures, trading with the indigenous population and basically robbing them, enslaving them,
Raping, tortured.
rape, pillage, plunder, torture.
Yeah.
Doing Spanish things.
Right.
What Spanish people did back in the 1600s. It's just, you don't really learn about the atrocities that the Spanish and I don't even know if it was so much the Portuguese, but definitely the Spanish did, the conquistadors and all of that. You don't learn about that as much in high school. Now when you get to college, they love to talk about.
By the way.
Yeah. Just
well,
and the ignorance and the arrogance and the
right.
I don't know, power hungry.
Well, and thousands of the indigenous people that were living there turned to suicide.
Yeah.
Just to escape being so oppressed by Columbus's men and other explorers. And we don't even need to pinpoint Columbus as the problem.
Right.
He just happened to be the guy that came over the first time.
He was a figurehead.
Right. He was.
Yeah.
He was their Hitler.
When you put it that way, you're not wrong.
I mean, Hitler didn't kill everybody. He had other men that did.
Well,
and he was commanding them, not unlike Columbus.
What's his Himmler?
Yeah.
The guy that ran the SS for Hitler.
Yeah.
He's the one that's accredited to a lot of the.
Right.
We keep going back to the Holocaust. It's big.
Well, it's
like I said, we can't do it in a 45-minute to an hour podcast.
Not a chance.
6 hours to go. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his Heimlich Himmler?
I think that's right.
Heimlich.
It's not Heimlich. That's choking.
I know.
Yeah.
Himmler is the one that really sanctioned all of the atrocities and
right.
Hitler was just the guy that's like, go for it.
Yep.
Sounds good to me. I hate the Jews because they didn't accept me when I was 13 or whatever his reasoning was. So we digress.
Yeah.
So on the 13th of June, Columbus and his people head back to Hispaniola. Again, he likes it there. I get it. It's a nice country.
Yeah.
Especially in June. 20th of August. So a couple months later, he returns to La Isabela on Hispaniola and takes up his role as governor because he went back and they were like, hey, you found it. It's yours.
Yeah.
But there's people there. It's yours. Do they have a flag? Well, no. Okay, then it's yours.
Then it's yours.
Have you seen that bit with Eddie Izzard?
Yeah.
Comedian. He said, but you have a flag? Well, no, but I've been here for 10,000 years. No flag, no country. So good. I do it no justice.
Not at all. That's okay.
Because I'm not a British transvestite comedian.
Weird.
I guess now he's transgender.
Yeah.
Regardless.
I don't know what to.
Regardless, he's funny.
Yeah.
So, or she's funny. They're funny. Let's see. 1494 to 1495, open warfare breaks out between the colonial Spaniards and the Taino. Taino.
Yeah, that's how I read it in my head.
Taino,
yeah.
So for a couple of years there, they're just battling it out because this is our land. No, it's ours. So we claimed in the name of Isabel and Ferdinand, but we've got guns. Well, we've got cane spears.
Right.
So yeah. The 10th of March, 1496, they depart La Isabela for Spain, and then on the 8th of June, they reach the coast of Portugal. So
a hero's welcome.
3-year voyage, heroes welcome back. Lots of bloodshed, lots of murder, lots of new to you islands.
Right.
That they found.
But they come back as heroes. They come back
that's the sad part.
They come back and it's only their tales that are making.
Oh, history's written by the victors.
Absolutely. Well, yeah.
So
right. Nobody cares what the other side of the coin looks like.
Sure.
Right.
And it's like I say all the time, there's three sides to every story, yours, mine, and the truth.
Right.
And right now we're just learning about, Columbus's side.
Right.
So
Well, that's what schools, that's what kids need to hear, though. Let's be real honest. There is a measurement of let's make sure that we're not teaching kids that it's okay to rape, pillage, and plunder like the pirates that they were.
Right.
So
one of the I don't want one of his peoples wrote, and this gets, again, we're talking about the atrocities, so this gets kind of brutal. While I was in the boat, I captured a very beautiful Carib woman whom they said Lord Admiral gave to me. So they said Columbus gave
right.
him this woman. And with whom, having taken her into my cabin, she being naked according to her custom, again, they had no reason to have clothes. They didn't have shame. They didn't have the Bible telling them that they can't show their...
And it was the Caribbean.
Right. It's the Caribbean.
The weather is condoning of
right.
wearing very little.
He says, I conceived desire to take pleasure. I wanted to put my desire into execution, but she did not want it and treated me with her fingernails in such a manner that I wished I had never begun. But seeing that, to tell you the end of it all, I took a rope and thrashed her well, for which she raised such unheard of screams that she would not have believed your ears, or that you would not have believed your ears. Finally, we came to an agreement.
Doubtful.
In such a manner that I can tell you that she seemed to have been brought up in a school of harlots. We came to an agreement?
Not a
Dude,
chance.
you raped her after you beat her.
Right.
After you kidnapped her.
After she said no and fought back.
God. Several accounts of cruelty and murder include Spaniards testing the sharpness of blades on native people by cutting them in half.
Yeah. Half.
Beheading them in contests and throwing natives into vats of boiling soap.
Oh.
There are also accounts of suckling infants being lifted from their mother's breasts by Spaniards, only to be dashed headfirst into large rocks. So when you talk about that these people were committing suicide to just escape this,
yeah,
I mean,
I don't blame them.
I can continue to just be absolutely brutalized, or I can yeet myself off the cliff.
Right.
Sounds like a sound option to me.
Which one? Yeah.
I mean, you've known nothing but virtual peace your entire life.
Right.
Living in a paradise, and your society works. And then these new pale people show up in all this armor with all these sharp tools and weapons and these big boomsticks, and then just start slaughtering your people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to yeet myself off the mountain too.
Yeah, I'm not a part of this. And it's, let's be, again, they're on a tiny islands.
Yeah.
There is no escape. There is no, I'm just going to move farther away from them.
Yeah, I'm just going to expedite the process.
They were stuck.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the downfall of an island, is it's only so big.
Right.
You know, it's not good.
So because Columbus reported a plethora of natives for slaves, rivers of gold and fertile pastures to Queen Isabel and King Ferdinand, Columbus was given 17 ships with 1,200 more men. We talked about that on the way over. Columbus had to deliver, though. In the next few years, Columbus was desperate to fulfill those promises. Hundreds of native slaves died on their way back to Spain, and gold was not as bountiful as expected. Columbus forced the natives to work in gold mines until exhaustion. Those who opposed were beheaded and had their ears cut off. The hell. In the province of, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Cicao. Cicao? I don't know.
Yeah.
All persons over 14 had to supply at least a thimble of gold dust every 3 months and were given copper necklaces as proof of their compliance. Yeah. God.
But that also sounds like motive to turn on each other to steal a necklace.
Right. Those who did not fulfill their obligations had their hands cut off, which were tied around their necks while they bled to death. Some 10,000 died handless.
Ooh.
They found them in mass graves.
Yeah.
In the 2 years' time, so during his second voyage, roughly 1493 to 1496. Approximately, get this, 250,000 indigenous people in Haiti were dead. Just in Haiti.
Mm,
Or Hispaniola.
right.
As it was,
Same.
Yeah. Many deaths included mass suicides or intentional poisonings or mothers killing their babies to avoid persecution.
Yeah.
But yeah. According to Columbus, in few years before his death, gold is the most precious of all commodities. Gold constitutes treasure, and he who possesses it has all he needs in the world, as also the means of rescuing souls from purgatory and restoring them to the enjoyment of paradise. How arrogant.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Uh,
I just don't. I can't see the evil.
yeah.
Like, that's just not a. You're brought up as a kid. Christopher Columbus was kind of a role model, a hero. He found America.
Sure. And it just,
But
again, it goes to show you're side by side the truth.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
we'll there's going to be a lot of that during this, not just this episode, but this entire podcast.
Yeah.
You're side by side the truth. I mean,
Sure.
that's one thing that we hope to really bring out in these episodes, is that to show you this stark contrast between the two sides in anything that we
Right.
go over, and then to really, now that hindsight being 2020, here's the truth of the matter.
Right.
Here's what really happened.
Right.
So
Well, look, yeah. Hindsight it's incredible because
Yeah.
it's such a powerful thing to go, had I only just known or
Sure.
thought about or
We-
seen or done.
what would we have been taught in school if they would have
Right.
taught the truth? Of course,
Yeah.
You're teaching second and third graders about these atrocities. It gets a little bleak.
But you can't.
Exactly.
You can't.
They're not that desensitized yet.
But you also can't teach them that he's a hero.
Bingo. You have to put him in the same realm as Americo Vespucci, as Diego, can't think of his last name. The seven explorers of the New World, quote unquote.
Right.
You have to put him in that same vein. You can't glorify him just because he was the first European over here, which that's not even true, because the Vikings were here 1,500 years.
Right.
Or-
They were in Canada and
500 years before.
up north. But yes.
Newfoundland
Yes.
and Greenland, and which, you want to talk about innovation. Vikings got stuff to grow in Greenland.
Right.
I mean, how good of a farmer are you?
Right.
Kudos, man.
You can make corn grow in Kansas. That's awesome.
Right.
We can grow stuff in
Yeah.
ice.
I grew
And
beans
rock.
in Greenland.
You win.
Bow down.
You win.
So Columbus also provided, as we said, native sex slaves to his men. This is where it gets even darker. In addition to putting the natives to work as slaves in his gold mines, Columbus also sold sex slaves to his men, some as young as 9.
Good God.
Columbus and his men also raided villages for sex and sport. We talked about cutting men in half, natives in half, just to see how sharp their blades were, beheading men and then kicking them as like a soccer ball. In the year 1500, Columbus wrote, 100 castellanos are as easily obtained for a woman as for a farm. And it is very general, and there are plenty of dealers who go about looking for girls. Those from 9 to 10 are now in demand.
I don't even understand how 9 or 10-year-olds can be looked at even in that.
You figure it out. You could probably figure out how to solve it, and then we can stop a lot of
That's terrible.
pain and suffering in the modern world, let alone.
Which is just as disgusting, if not worse. Yeah.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
is a true sickness.
Hmm.
So, moving on. Third voyage.
So the third one's kind of funny because this is the one where the tides start to turn for Columbus as far as how hero worshipped he is
Sure.
back home, because so he gets 6 ships this third time,
Mhm.
and they go 3 go one way, and then Columbus takes 3, and they're looking for different passages and stuff, better, more efficient ways to cross the Atlantic.
Sure. So, for
Cool.
those keeping score at home, he went 3, 17, and now 6.
6,
So, all right.
right?
He-
So he
You-
took 3 to check it out.
yeah.
Then he was this massive dude that took 17 ships, basically an armada of ships.
Correct.
And then he gets 6 again.
So you can see just by that number alone,
Yeah.
how much faith,
Right.
Isabel and Ferdinand and the Spanish government, whoever he's
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, chartering through now. You can see how much
Yeah.
faith they really have in them.
Right.
So.
And it kind of goes,
I don't know.
maybe not. Maybe we don't give this 16-year-old a Corvette.
Right, exactly.
Let's just
Let's not give him a tank.
So this third voyage, he's out there, and they land in Trinidad, just off the South American coast.
Right, Trinidad and Tobago now.
Yeah. And they do some stuff there, but they really do end up getting back to Hispaniola and
This voyage is
Chacare. I did it.
Chaka, not gonna go there.
Not gonna, and the island of Margarita, which is a place.
That's where margaritas come from.
Apparently, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they really do a good amount of stop hopping. I don't want to say.
Oh yeah, they just kind of
because they're in Central America now.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, he gets 19th of August in 1498. He gets back to Hispaniola, and he's found that the settlers are in rebellion against his rule and his unfulfilled promises of riches. So I guess if you promise people they're going to get rich,
Right.
and they don't.
Right. And these are Spanish, Portuguese.
Right. The
whatever
settlers
they're
that came
called
over
now.
with him and,
Yeah.
and under his governance.
Part of the 1,200 people that came
Right.
with him
Right.
on the
He said,
17 ship.
You come with me, you're going to be rich. You're going to rule the land.
Yeah. Well, no, we just get attacked by natives because we're so brutal to them, and there isn't all the gold and the rivers of gold that you promised. And
Right. All those grandeurs just
Right.
not there.
Yeah, it kind of sucks here. It's
Yeah.
beautiful outside, but
Yeah. So yeah, he comes back to Hispaniola and realizes that things are in disarray, we can say.
we'll call it disarray. Yeah.
Yeah. And he had some of those Europeans tried for their disobedience, and at least one of their leaders was hanged, which I think is a pretty decent way to go compared to
Yeah,
others.
Yeah.
So in October that same year, he sent, in 1499, he sent 2 ships back to Spain, asking the court of Spain to appoint a royal commissioner to help govern. So he's now asking for help. He's like, hey guys, I need somebody here to kind of help take the reins. I can't always be here to tell people how to run these new to us
Right.
countries. And they end up sending Francisco de Bobadillo. 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 And he's a close friend of Queen Elizabeth, or Isabella.
Isabella. Yeah, Elizabeth is a few centuries later.
It's just one of those. It's just Queen is
Or a few
Elizabeth.
centuries.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But he's a good friend of hers.
Sure.
The problem is
They're
word
buds.
has now gotten back to them that he's not the great person that he thinks he is.
Sure,
So he's
sure.
also there to investigate all those accusations of brutality. He's there to go. Little did he know that he went to go ask for help, and he was getting a reporter back directly to Queen Isabella.
Yeah.
Somebody that was going to hold him accountable for all this stuff. And it's exactly what she got was answers.
Right. Right.
Bobadilla reported back to Spain that Columbus once punished a man found guilty of stealing corn by having his ears and nose cut off and then selling him into slavery.
As one would.
If slavery wasn't bad enough, he has to do
Oh,
it without
yeah.
being able to hear or smell.
yeah.
Which,
Well, he might be able to still hear and smell. It's just he's disfigured and
right.
Yeah.
And it's just not a life you want to live. Let's be real.
well, yeah, you don't want to be the scary guy.
No, that nobody wants to talk to or
Right.
have over for dinner.
Right.
Yeah. He also claimed that Columbus regularly used torture and manipulation to govern Hispaniola. Testimony recorded that
Well, not only against the natives, but against his own people.
everybody, he was just a he was a tyrant.
There's no other word. He was a tyrant.
Yeah. And when people would start to rebel against him, Columbus his brother was congratulated one time for defending the family when they found out that a woman was rebellious against the Columbus name.
Sure.
And they paraded her around naked through the streets and then had her tongue cut out because she had spoken ill of the admiral and his brothers.
It's just
what?
Brutality after brutality
Yeah.
after brutality after brutality.
Yeah. After that, his reputation just starts going down the toilet. So now the natives don't like him. The Europeans don't like him.
The sand doesn't like him. The grass doesn't like him.
No, nobody likes him.
Very highly favored. Not that he really was in the beginning, but
right.
Because he's, this is third voyage and he's still not, fulfilling the promises that he made.
Right. And there's so in early of October, 1500. It's a new year, new century, new everything. Columbus finally does give himself up to Bobadilla, and they were put in chains, and they were actually arrested.
Yes.
For just being terrible, and they were returned to Spain and spent 6 weeks in jail.
6 whole weeks.
6 weeks
for what he did.
Yes, and then King Ferdinand ordered their release. He just said, "You guys are good. Right. You guys can go.
Right.
You can go." And they were restored with all of their freedoms and their wealth and their riches, and it's like it never even happened.
Exactly. Yeah, you would think they would at least just, okay, no, you're going to stay here.
Yeah.
We're going to send some other people. You're done.
Now you can go again.
But no, it's like, okay, you served your time out.
Yeah, you can come out of the corner now.
Which is really what it was. It's just a timeout.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
So that was in 1503. When was that? 1500.
1500.
So fast forward to 1502. May 11th, 1502. He departs from Cadiz, Spain with 4 ships. So again, the number
weird
goes down again.
Yeah.
Weird. The 29th of June, 1502. So again, they're speeding up the process of getting over there because they know where they're going.
And they're using trade winds, and they're getting there. Coming back, they've got to go against all those winds, which is tough. But getting
that's the easy part.
Yeah, getting there's easy.
Yeah. So they again they leave from Spain, they go down the Canary Islands, and then they come over to, Hispaniola, Santo Domingo on the 29th of June, 1502.
Yep.
30th of July, same year, arrives at the Mosquito Coast of modern day Nicaragua. The 9th of January, 1503, establishes the garrison at Rio Belon. On the 6th of April, 1503, the garrison is attacked by indigenous people and abandoned. So, what he was over there searching for was, okay, well, now they know that they're in a new land, a new to them land.
Right.
We're so conditioned to say a new land. It's a new to them land.
Right.
So what he's doing is he's searching for a strait, or for, to what he thinks will take them to the Indian Ocean, not realizing that there's a whole other ocean in between them and the Indian Ocean. They don't really realize where they are in the grand scheme of things. But so he's searching for a strait to get through this new landmass that they found. They realize that there's a bunch of islands, and then there's a mainland.
Right.
So
Central and South America.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's convinced that such a route exists, because why wouldn't it?
Right.
He hoped to find Right. He hoped they would find a strait that would lead them through the newly discovered lands. He explored parts of Central America during this voyage, including present-day Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. Sailed along the coasts, encountering various indigenous communities. Again, most of them are peaceful. Most of them are welcoming, and they just come in and rape, pillage, and plunder.
Yeah.
The pirates that he so hated from when he was, a teen, that sunk his ship. Well, now he's no better than them. Probably worse.
Yeah.
If we're being real. And 1503, I don't have the exact date on this one. Columbus, one of Columbus's ships, again, the Santa Maria, was wrecked on the northern coast of what is now Haiti, and the crew salvaged what they could from the ship to build a settlement called Navidad.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
The crazy thing is, during all of his voyages, all of the 30 some odd ships that he had, 4 of them were named the Santa Maria. 1 on each voyage, because that was his flagship.
Sure.
He kept breaking the damn thing.
Yeah.
So that was, I don't know what it was. I mean, there was no real tie back to the name to anything in his life.
Sure.
So keep in mind that on this, on this particular voyage, his youngest son, which would be from Columbus's second wife, was now joining him.
Yeah.
On the first couple, his brother was joining, which it was his older brother, I believe.
Bartholomew.
Yes, the one that taught him or helped teach him map making and things like that.
Yeah.
So on this voyage, he finally gets to bring one of the kids along. Let's see what Dad does for work.
Bring your son to work day.
Yeah, or century or year or whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So his son is taking part in all this as well, and it's just, this is what we do to people lesser than us, son.
Right. If you don't have gold, you're nothing.
Right. Again, Columbus faces resistance and hostility from the indigenous people. Relations between Columbus's crew and the local populations were strained, leading to conflicts. Again.
Yeah.
Excuse me. At this time, a lot of the crew and Columbus as well have various health issues, including outbreaks of disease, things that they had encountered before, because they didn't spend a lot of time in each of these places to really get infected by all these new to them diseases.
Right.
Columbus himself experiences deteriorating health during the voyage.
Right.
So,
his very first one, he got sick.
Yes, he got sick, but not to this degree.
No.
To anything like this.
Right.
So, 29th of June. Let's see. Let me go back a little bit further. 16th of April, 1503, leaves Rio Bellon for home. 25th of June, at home being Santo Domingo, Hispaniola, because he's the governor.
Right.
So
why wouldn't you?
Right. 25th of June, 1503, sinking ships beached and abandoned at Jamaica, marooning the crew because he's like, peace out if you can't sail. 4 days later, the crew is rescued from Jamaica after more than a year on the island. 29th of June, 1504. They go back and get them. So they lived there for a year, not like a month, not a week or two.
Right. No, they were there.
They were marooned.
Yeah.
So fast forward 7th of November 1504, Columbus returns to Spain. So returns to Spain. That ends his final voyage, but that is also really the springboard for European exploration of the new,
right,
the new continent. We'll say the new world. But 20th of May 1506, so a mere year and a half later, Columbus dies in Valladolid. Valladolid? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Couldn't tell you.
Valladolid.
Yes.
And I've seen mixed reports of what he died from. My favorite one, truth or not, but I'm going to go with it. He died of gout.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, they didn't know how to battle gout really back then. You just had it, and it was a death sentence.
It was just a thing.
But I love that there's a man that was so heralded and so storied and died of gout.
I also saw it could have been reactive arthritis.
I like gout.
Yeah. Gout's also easier to say and remember. But
Reactive arthritis.
Yeah. Arthritis at 54 could have killed him.
Good for it.
Yeah.
Good for it.
Yes.
Let's see. In just 8 years, Columbus managed to begin the eradication of an entire indigenous population, put the transatlantic slave trade into motion, and establish precedents for centuries of raping and pillaging by other European colonists. Rather than observing Columbus Day, that gets into a whole other realm of opinion. So, but yeah, this is one of the large reasons that they have started calling it Indigenous Peoples Day,
right,
instead of Columbus Day,
right?
Which
is to shine a better light on things, but it's hard to change.
It really is. I think that there needs to be better education as to what happened. Sure, we I don't want to say we honor, I don't want to say we glorify, but we definitely have to give credit where credit is due, that Columbus set out and opened up the expansion west by Europe, which none of us would be here.
Right.
I don't say none of us. The majority of us wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those voyages. The atrocities that were committed by Columbus and his crew, though, have to be acknowledged too. And again, I'm a firm believer that history isn't there to make you feel good.
Yeah.
History is there to teach you where we made mistakes, how we got where we are, and how to be better from it.
Right.
If history makes you uncomfortable, then it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Then you can learn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are supposed to learn from it. If it makes you uncomfortable, it's doing what it's supposed to do to where
Yeah.
you're learning something from it. So, and that really is, and again, like we talked about in our first episode, this is a very fluid podcast, a very fluid format of what we're going to do. But one of the things that we really are striving to do is to really teach people the mistakes that history has made.
Right.
The little nooks and crannies of history that most people don't know. So, and
Yeah.
we're learning in the process, as you can see, we're stumbling over our own words that we typed out 3 days ago.
Exactly.
So, and we need pronunciation guides, and we need a whole research crew. We need to be the next Time Suck Dan Cummings and have our own full-time research crew. And
Joe Rogan doesn't do this on his own.
no.
Not that we're going to be Joe Rogan. Let's not.
Or Dan Cummins.
But
But we're gonna try.
yeah.
So there you go. We have waded into the dirty river that is Columbus. There's a tagline.
Yeah, there's
Waded
something
into
there.
the dirty river that is
I like
Columbus.
it. Yeah.
Well,
There was one thing that kept striking me, and I'm just going to end with this one for
Sure.
me at least.
Sure.
I was reminded of a quote of the great Dr. Ian Malcolm of Jurassic Park.
Oh,
And if you take out the word scientist and put in explorer, it works perfect. And basically, your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could,
right.
they didn't stop to think if they should.
I should. Exactly.
And let's be real honest, that just because you can doesn't mean you have to.
Right.
Columbus had to, in his mind, because he was right, because he was not a scholarly man,
Right. Well, it was
but his mind was made up.
that in that whole era from the 1400s through even as recent as the 1800s, the mid 1800s.
Right.
That sense of manifest destiny.
Yeah.
That it is my right to continue to push through.
Yeah.
It runs rampant in, we'll just say in the European descent of
Yeah.
people.
Yep.
For whatever reason.
For many, many hundreds of years, and
Yes.
and even to this day, for certain circumstance.
Yes.
It's my right.
It is not. So, privilege
Sure.
to explore, but it's not your right to rape, pillage, and plunder
Right.
and take and cause ownership. So this is not the Oklahoma land rush where you just put a flag and it's yours. So maybe someday we'll wade into the
The Sooners?
Oklahoma land rush. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd rather do it into Bleeding Kansas if we're going that time period, but we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
So next episode should be we have families. Sunday, December the 3rd.
Yeah.
A couple of topics we're looking at would be the War of the Second Coalition
Mhm.
and the death of Scott Weiland and grunge music.
Hey.
I'm really leaning on that one, but we have some meetings to be had between now and then and figure it out.
We'll see.
So again, make sure you do follow us on all the socials at Dirty River ICT on Twitter X.
Yep.
I can't say the two together in one mashed word. Make sure you do find us on Instagram at Dirty River Podcast. Make sure you find our group, Dirty River Chronicles Podcast, on the Facebook, on the Facey Spaces.
Yep.
And then, of course, you can always shoot us an email. We want to hear your opinions.
Does MySpace still work?
I don't
Like,
think it's a thing. It
Can
might
you
be.
even go to MySpace anymore? I haven't tried.
I think you can. I think it's more for music and like
Okay.
like independent producers and things like that,
Oh, gotcha.
if I remember correctly. Can't remember the word particulars, but I can remember that. Yeah. But again, shoot us an email, dirtyriverchronicles@gmail.com. We want to hear your opinions. And trash us if you want to. We don't care.
Yeah.
We got thick skin. He was in the military and I was raised by a drill sergeant. So
Yeah.
We got this.
We have egos. We're
Yes. Also, if you have show suggestions, by all means, send them our way. We'll read them, whether we apply them or not. We definitely still want to hear your opinions.
Yeah.
But we want to thank our beautiful significant others for allowing
Absolutely.
us the time to do this. And
without her, I could do nothing. Trust me.
agreed. Yes. And same in my household as well.
Oh yeah.
You know, our families do allow us the time to have this little passion project. And you know what? Maybe someday we'll get the Mrs. on here.
I think there's too many S's, but yes.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's pronunciation
Yeah.
guide. We'll get there. And you know, maybe you guys will get to meet them someday. But until then, Ron, thank you again.
Hey, it's been a pleasure.
Yep. Eric, thank you for the help. And see you guys in a couple of weeks.